going to have an alligator pit here. There's only one way to open the alligator pit, and that's on this bridge, the yellow bridge. I want you to line up by height. You're going to have to walk over the yellow bridge, carrying something, and then you walk around the alligator swamp back over and get some more stuff. So you drop the stuff, walk right, the alligator can see you. It's okay to run around back outside the swamp.
This poor guy gets his block knocked out of his hand. I'm the alligator. I think he thought I was going to eat him on the spot. But he's just teased, nobody's eliminated, and he's right back into the activity. And so the first time through, it's very straightforward, just walk and carry one block. That's just to get the idea. But now we're going to vary it. So can you carry multiple blocks? Are you 4 years old? Can you carry 4 blocks plus 1? Can you carry 5 blocks? Can you step sideways? Can you walk backwards? And so forth. Or here. That's pretty hard. If these knees come apart, I'm the alligator and I'm going to see him. And if you try to get him. All right. Oh, and he's holding it. He's seen that alligator. He's not taking a chance. Good. So one of the things going on here is we've varied the challenge. There's a little girl in a blue top who's much younger and much less skilled than the other children in this setting. So she's going to get a very simple task that's going to fit her ability. Whereas the guy that had it between his knees and made the adjustment or walked with it on his head, he's a really skilled mover, so he's going to get something much more challenging. So one of the themes I hope that you'll hear coming through today is everybody's involved in the same activity, but each at his or her own level. So there's easier and harder challenges within the same activity. Very much inclusion. Another bit is we got to make it fun, and adding a little bit of tension, like a hungry alligator, adds that fun. Because if we just put out a balance beam for children to walk on, they'll do that. They'll do it 3, 4, maybe 5 times, and then what else have you got for me? But you change it every time so that now you're carrying blocks this way, now going backwards. And it's always fresh and interesting and keeps the children very motivated. Since we did that, flat foam pool noodles seem to have gone out of production. And so we were trying to figure out what do we use. If you've got a 2x4x8, then you put the cross supports on and that works fine. But we wanted something that was really cheap because all the activities I'm seeking to share are designed for children of different ages, like 18 months or 2 years on up to 5 years of age, to play together. They're fun, and they use only inexpensive, readily available equipment. So no more flat pool noodles. So can you tell what this is? I'll give you a hint.
Pipe insulation.
Exactly, pipe insulation. So it's this that's scored, so you can open it up. And we've done that and then put it down flat, and this has been kept flat, so it cooperates, it stays flat. And we tape this to the floor. So tape on either end, one in the middle, and then get another 6-foot length of pipe insulation and tape that right next to it, and now you've got a 12-foot balance beam. Probably cost you about $3.50 for the 2 of them. And very easy to roll up and store afterwards. Plus, it's got a little bit of a curve to it, so it adds a little bit of a challenge to walk on it. It's a little easier than a little harder rather than something that's just simply flat. So that's an alternative. So, alligator pit. Let me show another, and then I'll talk about developing fundamental movement skills. Let me do easy catching. This is for people who've been here before. I almost never show this one, so here's a new one for you.
Okay, we're gonna play catch. Everybody has to pay attention. Who's it coming to? You ready? Heavy. Good catch. You ready? Both arms. Heavy. Roll. We try it again. Good catch. It's your turn. Here you go.
Now, this is working on catching, and there's no longer a balloon inside, but it's a padded ball. Terra hockey or something is the name of the ball. Because balloons are hard to catch, so you need something with a little bit of weight that's going to be easier to catch, but of course not hard, but maybe a lightweight playground ball. And so my husband Craig has been basically landing it in the children's hands so they trap it and get practice with it, and now he's tossing a loose ball, and it's working. They're able to catch it.
Wow! Yes. And my favorite hat.
Now there's turn taking here, so I'd only do it with a very small group of children, not where 15 children each have to wait for a turn. There's also, you see the little boy who's sitting the whole time? You may have a child like this in your setting too. He's really, really shy, and he's with an absolutely wonderful family child care provider.
Okay. Okay, here we go.
But it took him about 4 months to open up with her, not even with us, just with her. And finally, he opened up when it was summertime and all the other children's families had left on vacation, and so it was just one-on-one, and then he felt secure enough. We encourage him to participate, lots of feedback, positive feedback when he does participate, but of course you can't force him to do anything, so we just try to make the activity so motivating. And he did participate in some other things later, but you can't get him all the time. Sometimes it takes a long time for somebody to warm up. So that's easy catching there. Yes?
How is that attached to the pool?
Oh, and you don't need to do it that way. You could just swing it into their hands. But what he did is he had a dowel that was pretty much this diameter, stuffed the pantyhose in there, put the dowel in, and it wasn't moving.
It was holding real good.
Yeah, I know, because she's going, "Rawr," and it hasn't come out. I was delighted that it didn't. But, and again, I wouldn't use a balloon. I'd use something with a little weight that drop into their hands. But high rates of success with that. Now, I've seen or shown a video with throwing and kicking and catching and striking. And I just want to talk about what those are, as well as other fundamental movement skills. So this is the college lecture part, but I'll keep it pretty brief, and it's important because this is the core of what we're doing in a preschool physical activity program. So using David Gallagher's approach to motor development, before birth until some months after birth, we're in the reflexive movement phase. And if you work with infants, you see this all the time. Stimulate here, turn and sucking. Here, you get that really strong grip and so forth. From birth up until maybe a year and a half or so, we're in the rudimentary movement phase. So we learn to hold our head up, to extend, to grasp, to release, to roll over, to sit up, to crawl with belly, like combat crawl, belly on the floor, and to creep on hands and knees, and eventually pull to a stand and take the first steps. The next phase is the fundamental movement phase, from about age 2 on up to 6, 7, or 8. And that's the one I'm going to come back and focus on, because listen to those ages, 2 to age 6, 7, or 8. And those are the ages of children, you know, the 2 to 5 or so that I believe that you work with. So they're in the fundamental movement phase, if they're typically developing. And then from age 6, 7, or 8 on up through the rest of our lives, we're in the specialized movement phase. So all of us are in the specialized movement phase. Let's go back to the fundamental movement phase and what's included in that. So the umbrella term, fundamental movement phase, has 3 categories within it. One of them is locomotor skills. And just call out, what locomotor skill am I doing right now, everybody? Walking. And now? Jumping. And now? Running, sort of. Got an Achilles tendon problem. And this one? Hopping. And then the same foot's always in front. Skipping. Yep, catch your own foot, or chase your foot is a cue you can use for galloping. And then going to the side, sliding, hit, shuffle, sidestep, and so forth. The umbrella term is sliding. And, let's see, a big step, Oh, please get this. It's hard. Yes, leaping. And then skipping, okay? Those are all what? Very good. Locomotor skills that are one of the three categories under the umbrella term fundamental movement skills. So locomotor skills are walk, run, jump, hop, gallop, slide, leap, and skip. The next category is manipulative, or I like using the term object control skills. So I'll just pretend, what am I doing now? Throw and catch and strike, which includes batting, forehand, backhand, overhand smash. All those things are in our term striking. And then with my feet, kicking. And here's for the soccer people, the ball's rolling toward me, I stop it, or I stop it this way. What's that called? Trapping, very good. And yes, bouncing or dribbling. And that's plenty, including the trapping, probably wouldn't get into with preschoolers. But the additional ones would be volleying and, rolling, ball rolling. That could be preschool for sure. I think that's it. So that category is called what? Object control, very good. The first one was locomotor, and the umbrella term is fundamental movement skills, okay? So again, those object control skills are throw, catch, kick, strike, volley, trap, roll, bounce, okay, or dribble. All of those locomotor skills and object control skills have been identified at the initial, elementary, and mature stage, and I'll come back to that in a moment. The third category isn't broken down in terms of initial, elementary, and mature. That category is stability or non-manipulative. And that includes stretching, bending, twisting, turning, swinging, swaying, upright balance, inverted balance that I'm not doing, springy movements that I'm definitely not doing, like handstands, headstand, inverted would be handstands and headstands. Springing movements would be round-ups, front and back summies, flips, and so forth. So that category is called stability. Stability underlies all movement. No one's fallen out of their chair. You know, you're exercising stability. I haven't fallen over yet. I'm exercising stability. So we kind of leave that one. That's very important, but it doesn't apply to the next bit. Locomotor and object control skills, each one of those is identified at the initial, elementary, and mature stage. So for example, with striking, the initial stage of striking, the way people start out striking, is this kind of thing, just kind of hacking at it. And if you work with young children, you're going to say, oh yeah, I see them do that. The elementary stage, the next level up, is kind of a diagonal thing. And then the mature stage is where you get your whole body into it. And it's striking and a horizontal movement. I'd like to go through throwing at the initial, elementary, and mature stage. And is there someone who would volunteer to hold this target? You've just been volunteered. What's your name, please?
Kim.
Kim? Thank you, Kim. Let's go over here. So you have to turn in your seats because we'll be using this space to demonstrate. Let's see. Yes, if you stand there, because I'm left-handed, so that'll give people a chance to see this. Okay, so just hold that right in front of you. Okay, so I'm going to demonstrate throwing at the target. You are a very good sport. You didn't even flinch. I would not throw this at you.
Like pull out a sock.
Yes. I am. You know, you remember. Yes, it's a fuzzy dice, and I'm not even going to throw it until the very end and tell you. But when people start throwing, and again, think of really young children, they do this. They have no idea what the rest of their body's doing, so they keep it still, and they just kind of push that ball with their arm. That's the initial, that's the beginning stage of throwing. And that's good, but we want them to move beyond it. So the elementary stage, well, before I demonstrate it, would you call out the last word of this sentence? I don't want her on my team. She throws like a
Girl.
girl. I hate that. I guess we have no men in the room at this point. Yeah, there's nothing about being female that means we throw in a certain way. but it's everything about lack of practice, which can be the case with males or females, but often is the case with females. I mean, you know how skilled some women and girls are, so I really pray for the day that nobody knows the last word of that. But we've all heard it, we've all been told it. So anyway, this is growing like a girl, which really means it's the elementary stage of growing. I'm facing the target, and what's not mature about the way I'm throwing? What's going on? I'm left-handed. Exactly, all on one side of the body. I'm stepping forward with my left foot as I'm throwing with my left hand. It's a homolateral movement, just one side of my body. And it works, but it doesn't work as well as the mature throw. So the mature throw is side to the target, because up until now I've been facing the target. Arm back, step forward with the opposite foot. And being left-handed, it's my right foot that's going forward. And follow through diagonally across the body. So I can get a lot more power. I'm not throwing
I
that.
suspected it.
Yeah, I'll tell you before. So I can throw with a lot of power. Where's my power coming from? That's not there when I do this. Beautiful. Yep, center of my body, right in here. Watch what's going on. What's it doing? I'm getting this twist. When I get that twist, I've got all the power of my gluteus, all my abdominals, and so forth. All these muscles here are involved in that throw, and then with the summation of forces, that power translates and comes out in the throw. Look what's not happening when I throw this way. No twist. I don't get all this power. And that's why we want children to learn to throw in a mature way, so they can get that power, so they can throw from, second to home, or even the outfield to home. That's pretty hard to do when you're throwing this way. Now I actually will throw. So try to get a lot of power. Thank you very much. Thanks, Kim. Appreciate it. A hand for a brave Kim here, please. Thank you. All right, so.
Get hit in the face.
Again, what are the ages of the development of mature fundamental movement skills? 2 to 6, 7, or 8. Exactly the ages of the children that you work with. So they need lots and lots and lots of practice throwing and kicking and striking and running and so forth to have mature patterns in all of those skills. Unlike rolling over, sitting up, taking those first steps, that barring orthopedic impairments, pretty much all humans, wherever you are in the world, go through, you don't get to mature fundamental movement skills automatically. It takes practice, a lot of practice and some instruction. And unfortunately, a lot of children now are highly practiced at this and not very practiced at this. And what happens when you get to elementary school? If you haven't had a lot of practice, if you don't have mature fundamental movement skills, well, maybe the children are playing kickball. I'm holding up the wall. I'm not going out there. They're going to laugh at me. I can't kick well. So they're already opting out of physical activity if they don't have the requisite mature fundamental movement skills. And I know some people still participate, but a lot of people opt out of physical activity. And researchers are documenting what just makes sense naturally. Those who are skillful movers choose to move more. So we've got to help everybody become more skillful in their movements, so they would choose to move more. And I'm not talking about college athletic scholarships or varsity teams. I'm just talking about enough skill to be reasonably successful in a wide variety of sports and active recreation. And that's what this is about. So when it comes to the content of a preschool physical activity program, it's developing mature fundamental movement skills and working on physical fitness and the affective cognitive domain too. But this stuff, developing mature fundamental movement skills, is at the heart of what we want children to do by the age of 6, 7, or 8. And they've got to have practice to get there. So what are some other ways to practice, or questions or comments or anything?